Once upon a time in Nigeria, there lived a breathtaking young woman named Amara. She was a virgin, and when people said she was stunning, they meant the head-turning, speech-stopping kind of stunning. Full lips, flawless skin, generous curve, especially up front, and a smile that could melt even PHCN's icy customer service. But Amara wasn't just beauty and vibe, she was desperate. Her beloved father, Papa Ikenna, was critically ill and needed an urgent surgery abroad. The cost was a fortune, the kind of money only CEOs or corrupt politicians had lying around. And because the procedure wasn't available in Nigeria, they'd need to fly him out business class at least, so the poor man wouldn't break into pieces mid-flight. Amara didn't have that kind of money. Heck, she barely had enough for bottled water that week. Now, her father wasn't just her daddy, was her everything. Her mother had abandoned them years ago when things got tough and ran off with a rich man who had a Range Rover and no morals. Meanwhile, Papa Ikenna stayed. He was there for her through thick and thin, literally starving some nights so Amara could eat. He even laughed at her dry jokes. They shared everything. "This man has given me everything," she said to her friend Tolu one night. "I can't just sit here and watch him die." Then one day, as if heaven had heard her tears, Amara saw a news segment about a top-tier surrogacy agency recruiting for a high-profile client. The pay? Astronomical. In fact, it was more than enough to cover her father's surgery, travel, and probably replace her cracked phone screen too. "Wait, someone's really paying this much for a baby?" she asked aloud, shaking her head. That night, she knelt down by her bedside and prayed. "Dear God, if this is your will, please let me get picked," she whispered. Then she paused and chuckled nervously. "But wait, wasn't Mary already the official virgin mom? So technically I can't take that title again, right?" She sighed and added, with tears rolling down her cheeks, "Even if it's not your will, Lord, please just help me save my father. I can't lose him." Still, she applied. She didn't care what anyone thought. Her two best friends, Chioma and Tolu, were not so sure. "You and Carrie Bell for person where you no even know? What if you fall in love with the baby?" Chioma asked. "They said it's no strings attached. Oh, after birth, you hand over the baby like you be borrowed charger. That's heavy, babe. You go fit?" Tolu added. But Amara was firm. "If I have to carry the baby, fine. But if I lose my dad, I'll never forgive myself." Meanwhile, far across the city in a marble and gold mansion that looked like it was designed by angels, lived Chuka Okafor, a billionaire CEO who could literally buy a whole estate just to park his shoes. But behind the wealth and power, Chuka was a broken man. You see, on his wedding day, he walked into the bridal suite and caught his bride, Nkechi, cheating with his best friend, Bayo. It wasn't just heartbreaking. It was the kind of betrayal that made you delete family group chats. Devastated, Chuka shut everyone out and locked himself inside his mansion for 3 years. No dates. No women, just gym, work, and long, silent stares into space. "Love is a scam," he said, swirling brandy in a glass like a true villain. "I don't need a wife. I just need someone who will carry my legacy. A child. That's all." So, he called up the top surrogacy agency in Lagos and made a demand. "Find me someone perfect. No drama, no strings, just someone who can give me a child, my own blood." The agency began screening hundreds of women, but when they saw Amara's file, one detail stood out: virgin. That, combined with her beauty and health records, made her the ideal candidate. "This is her," Chuka said during the profile review. "She's the one." A meeting was arranged. Amara showed up in her best thrifted dress, nervous but determined. The moment she stepped into the mansion, her mouth dropped. Jesus, this is not a house. This is an airport with furniture. This man's staircase alone looks like it leads to heaven. Chuka was even more intimidating in person. Tall, fine, and he looks rich enough to own a country. The deal was explained in full detail. The surrogacy wasn't just carry the baby for me kind. Since Chuka had no wife and didn't want to involve any other woman, they needed Amara's egg too. That meant the baby would be biologically hers. Amara's heartbeat doubled. You mean the baby will be my actual child? She asked quietly. Chuka nodded. Yes, but you'll have to sign over all rights. Once the child is born, I'll raise them. Amara went home broken. Her heart felt like soaked biscuit. How do I grow a child in me, give birth, and just hand it over like Uber delivery? She sobbed to her pillow. She locked herself in for days. Cried, slept, cried again, slept some more. Her friends came over with ice cream and harsh truths. You're not just doing this for you. You're saving your father's life, Tolu said. And come to think of it, babe, your child will have a better life than all of us combined. This child will never lack anything, Chioma added. Amara sat on the floor, wiped her tears, and sighed. So I'll be the second virgin mother in history. Mary, please don't be offended, she said with a tired smile. And just like that, she made her decision. On the day of their first hospital appointment, where Chuka's sperm was to be inserted into Amara, the car ride was completely silent. Amara sat stiffly, staring out the window. She looked uncomfortable the whole time. Her mind was busy doubting, thinking, wondering. Did I really make the right choice? Just to save my dad? She kept asking herself. At the hospital, the procedure was more painful than she expected. Amara gritted her teeth and held back tears. When it was over, the doctor spoke to her gently. For this to work and turn into a pregnancy, you need to stay stress-free, the doctor advised. No tension, no drama. On the way back home, Chuka tried to talk. Amara, he said, glancing at her. I think you should move into my house. That way, I can make sure you're eating well, resting, and staying calm. Amara turned to him, shocked. Move in with you? God forbid. As if it's not enough that I'm pregnant out of wedlock, you now want me to live with a man I'm not even married to. Chuka snapped. Why are you talking like an illiterate? What we have is a contract, nothing more. And besides, I don't even find you attractive, so nothing will ever happen between us. His words hit Amara like a slap. She stared at him, boiling with anger. Pull over. Let me come down from this car now. Chuka frowned. No, I need to make sure you're safe. That's my child in there. Amara folded her arms and said sharply. Oh, now you're the illiterate. The process just started. There's no baby in here yet, Mr. Rich Illiterate. Chuka slammed the brakes and shouted, Get out of the car! Amara smiled calmly. With pleasure, that was my request from the beginning. She stepped out and slammed the door. The next day, something surprising happened. Chuka came to Amara's house. Amara, I'm sorry, he said, looking uncomfortable. I was wrong. I spoke to you badly. Please forgive me. Amara folded her arms but listened. They talked for a long time. After some back and forth, they agreed on a middle ground. Amara would not move into his mansion, but she could visit from time to time, especially after hospital appointments. Over the next few weeks, Amara kept going for hospital checkups and would visit Chuka's mansion afterward. One day, as she and Chuka talked in the large fancy house, she finally asked the question that had been on her mind for weeks. Chuka, how do you live in this big house all by yourself? Doesn't it get lonely? Suddenly, Chuka's mood changed. He looked away, his smile disappearing. I'm sorry, Amara said quickly. I didn't mean to upset you. But Chuka replied anyway. My house wasn't always like this. It used to be full. Friends, family, always coming and going. He paused, then added with a faraway look. But after the betrayal on my wedding day, after my fiancé and best friends stabbed me in the back, I closed my doors. I shut everyone out. My only companion was my puppy. I'd talk to it, Tell it my secrets. It never replied, but somehow I knew it listened. Amara sat quietly, listening. But why let me in then? She asked softly. Why open your door for me? Chuka looked at her like he just realized something important, then quickly brushed it off. What do you mean? This is business, Amara. Purely business. Don't overthink it. Then came the big day. At their next hospital appointment, the doctor smiled at them. Congratulations! You're pregnant! Amara gasped. Chuka broke into a rare smile, his first real one in a long time. They both laughed and decided to go out and celebrate with a drink. Non-alcoholic for Amara, of course. While sipping juice and watching Chuka laugh, Amara quietly thought to herself, why am I happy? It's not like I'm going to raise the child. I'm not really the mother, am I? But then she looked at Chuka's face. If he's happy, then I'm happy too. But just a few weeks into the pregnancy, the unexpected happened. Amara started feeling sharp pains in her lower stomach. At first, she thought it was normal. Maybe it's just the baby adjusting, or stretching, or kicking small, she told herself. But when the pain got worse, she had to hold onto the wall to walk. She called her friend Chioma, her voice shaking. Chioma, I know they're okay. Oh, I think something is wrong. Chioma rushed over, called Chuka, and together they took Amara to the hospital. After running some tests, the doctor came out looking serious. She was almost having a miscarriage, he said. She needs complete bed rest and someone to monitor her closely. Chuka didn't even blink. She's moving into my house tonight. Amara wanted to argue, but this time she didn't have the strength. She just sighed and said quietly, as long as my dad is okay and this baby is safe, fine. Moving into Chuka's mansion was weird at first. She felt like a stranger in a hotel with too many rooms, too many chairs, too many maids, and too many pillows on one bed. But soon, she started getting used to the quiet luxury. Chuka also changed. He started acting different, softer, sweeter. A few weeks after Amara moved into Chuka's mansion, something happened. She was asleep one night, and as she got up to use the restroom, she saw a lot of blood on her bed. She screamed, Jesus! She cried out. Chuka rushed out of his room and ran to her. Amara! What's wrong? She pointed at the blood, shaking. It's the baby! Without wasting time, Chuka carried her into the car and rushed to the hospital. But nothing could be done. When they arrived, the doctors confirmed the worst. She's had a miscarriage, one of them said gently. Amara just stared blankly at the wall. Her heart shattered. The doctors did not find the main cause of the miscarriage. It happens to some first-time pregnancies, they said. They advised that Chuka and Amara try in vitro fertilization, IVF, instead of the intrauterine insemination they tried earlier. When they got home, everyone was quiet. Amara distanced herself, thinking Chuka was going to blame her. But instead, Chuka showed concern, like he actually cared about Amara's well-being. He tried consoling her, even though Amara made it difficult at first. Eventually, they became buddies again. One day, Chuka approached her. You've been indoors the whole day, he said. Dress up, I'm taking you out. Where to? She asked, frowning. You'll see, he replied with a small smile. Chuka took Amara to the club for the first time. It was also his first time going out like that since the betrayal from his fiancé and friend. For Amara, it was her first time ever going to a club. For the Christian that I am, I never thought clubbing was ideal, she said in the car. Besides, there was never even enough to eat. Talk more of partying. Chuka laughed. Then your life was more boring than my post-breakup life. At the club, Chuka ordered expensive alcoholic drinks in different varieties, Imperial Blue and the likes. Amara, on the other hand, insisted, my alcohol tolerance is low. I'll just stick to soft drinks. But Chuka encouraged her. Just a taste won't hurt. Amara ended up not just tasting, but drinking like someone trying to drown her pain. Chuka had to stop her. Easy now, you're going too far. She laughed drunkenly and started spilling secrets. My life is such a mess. You know, my mom left us for a rich man, she slurred. Just left me and my dad. Just like that. And now my dad, who is also my best friend, is sick, and here I am being a surrogate just to save him. What a pathetic life. After a while, she turned to Chuka. Let's dance. Chuka shook his head. No, I don't feel like dancing. Fine, she huffed, wobbling to the dance floor. She began dancing wildly, and suddenly, she was surrounded by men admiring her. Chuka watched from the side, fists clenched. He felt a streak of jealousy. He walked over, gently pulled her away from the group, and whispered, "Let's go home." She was too drunk to argue. In the car, she fell asleep, so Chuka had to carry her to her room. But when they got to her room, something changed. She fell on the bed, dragged Chuka on top of her, and whispered, "I need you." Chuka slowly pulled away. "You're drunk." "I'm not," she insisted. "You're not even that handsome, but I need you. I'm so horny, and I desperately need you." Chuka, also drunk and horny, could not resist anymore. One thing led to another and they made love. Afterward, Chuka sat on the bed feeling guilty. "I shouldn't have done that," he muttered, watching her sleep. But at the same time, he couldn't deny how much he enjoyed it. He stared at her face, as if seeing her for the first time. She looked so peaceful, beautiful. When Amara woke up, she groaned. "Ouch! My head!" Chuka quickly rushed to get her pills. "Take this. You'll feel better," he said gently. The medicine made her sleep a little more. When she fully woke up, Chuka was gone. She felt pain between her legs and slowly. The memories of the night before came flooding in. "Oh my God," she whispered. "I forced myself on him." She felt ashamed. How am I going to face Chuka? But a part of her felt happy it happened. It was sweet, she admitted to herself. The sweetest thing ever. She laid in bed, savoring the moment. She wanted more. Eventually, she got up, showered, and went downstairs. The moment she saw Chuka, she wanted the ground to open and swallow her. Chuka noticed the uneasiness in her eyes and said softly, "I'm sorry for what happened." "I'm sorry," she said at the same time. They both paused. "No, I should apologize," Amara said quickly. "I mean, I forced you into act. You remembered that part?" Chuka asked, raising a brow. "Then I bet you also remembered all the nonsense you said." "What did I say?" "I can't seem to remember I said something," she said shyly. "But not everything I said." "Oh, I see," Chuka teased. "You remembered what was important to you, Abby." He laughed. From that moment on, their relationship was never the same. Chuka cared more like someone in love. Amara started seeing his good side. He would bring her breakfast in bed, even though it was clearly made by the chef. "You didn't come down for breakfast," he'd say casually. "So I brought it. Thought it'd be cold." But really, he just wanted to see her face. He took her to the movies, to family gatherings. Chuka's parents were shocked. "This is not the same Chuka," his mother whispered. "He's smiling again." They treated Amara like a queen bringing joy back into their son's life. When the next hospital appointment came, the doctors were shocked. "She's already pregnant," they said, surprised. Chuka and Amara hugged each other, beaming with excitement like expectant husband and wife. Even the doctors chuckled. At home, they popped non-alcoholic wine. "Thank you, God. I didn't have to do the IVF," Amara said. "I read it's such a painful process. I was scared to death on the way to the hospital." Chuka looked at her. "Really? Why didn't you tell me?" Amara looked down. "I didn't want to seem weak." Chuka gently moved a strand of hair from her face. I need you to trust me. If you don't like something, just tell me, okay? Because you are my responsibility, he said, leaning in for a kiss. Amara cleared her throat and quickly stood up. I need to go lie down. In her room, she scolded herself. Stick to the contract. Don't fall in love. Chuka said he would never love again. But then she whispered, what if he's changed his mind? She shook the thought off. You're not in the same class. You're just his surrogate mother. That's all. The next day, her friends came to visit. She shared everything that happened, right from the miscarriage to the club, the night together, and now the pregnancy. Her friends burst into laughter. So you fell in love with your contract boss? Chioma teased. Na contract turned to love story, be this, oh, Ada added. Amara covered her face, blushing. I didn't plan it, Chioma winked. Love no day plan, my sister. It just they happen. The days that followed were awkward for both Amara and Chuka, with both of them trying to hide their true feelings. Chuka kept telling himself that whatever he was feeling for Amara was normalit, was probably just because she was carrying his child. Amara, on the other hand, convinced herself that the sudden attraction and constant horniness were nothing but pregnancy hormones. She had read online that some women became more sexually active during pregnancy. Na Google Torcam. Oh, she whispered to herself one night, hugging her pillow. No means say I like the guy, Abby. On Amara's next doctor's appointment, they were driving in silence. The atmosphere in the car was tense. Chuka finally broke the silence. It feels like you're avoiding me, he said quietly. I mean, we live in the same house, but we barely see each other. Amara snapped her head to him. No, I'm not avoiding you. You're the one avoiding me. You go to work early and come home late just so you don't see me, Abby. Chuka looked surprised. You got it all wrong, he said calmly. There's a project I've been handling all last week. I've had to leave early for meetings with investors. And I've been working late into the night because of the workload. Amara looked away, her voice softer. I see. The rest of the ride continued in silence, but this time it wasn't cold. It was thoughtful, like they were both trying to figure out what this was and how to navigate it without breaking the fragile thread forming between them. As they walked out of the hospital, the sun was already starting to dip. The golden light hit Amara's skin just right, and for a second, Chuka stopped walking and just looked at her. What? Amara asked, squinting up at him, slightly self-conscious. Chuka shook his head, smiling. Nothing. You just look healthy and calm. It suits you. Amara blinked. Wow, that's the nicest thing you've said to me in, ever. Oh, please, Chuka laughed. You just don't remember the nice things because you're always on edge with me. Lies. You like Wahala, Amara shot back playfully. They reached the car and Chuka opened the door for her. She raised an eyebrow. Wow. Are you being a gentleman? Or are you trying to get into my good books? He smirked. Can't it be both? She laughed and got into the car. As Chuka walked around to the driver's side, he couldn't stop smiling. On the drive home, Amara dozed off with her head leaning against the window. Chuka glanced at her and gently adjusted the air conditioning so it wouldn't blow directly on her. When they got home, he didn't wake her immediately. He just sat for a while, watching her sleep. Her face looked peaceful. No tension in her brows, no sarcasm ready at her lips, just peace. He sighed and whispered, What are you doing to me, Amara? Chuka reached out, brushed a strand of hair from her face, and just sat there, heart oddly full. Eventually, he whispered, Let's get you inside, and carried her in his arms, gently, as if she might break. Inside, he laid her on the bed and was about to walk away when she grabbed his wrist in her sleep. Chuka, she mumbled, eyes still closed. He froze. Yeah? Don't avoid me anymore, okay? He smiled. Deal. The next morning, Amara woke up to the sound of raised voices downstairs. It was Chukahe was arguing with his mother. Chuka, I see the way you look at her. his mother said, her voice rising slightly. Look at who? Chuka asked, pretending not to know who she was referring to. Amara, of course, his mother snapped, her eyes lighting up with certainty. Chuka sighed. Mom, what Amara and I have is purely business. Nothing else. Once she gives birth and hands over the baby to me, the contract is over. His mother looked stunned. Chuka, what are you saying? Who's going to take care of the baby then? I'll hire a nanny, he replied flatly. So you prefer a nanny taking care of your child than the child's own mother? She asked, incredulous. Mama, what exactly are you driving at? Do you want me to hire her to take care of the baby, just so she builds a connection with the child? Chuka asked, frustration creeping into his tone. No, Chuka. All I'm saying is marry this girl, his mother said gently. What your ex-fiancé did to you was painful, I admit. But that doesn't mean you should shut the door to love completely. Chuka shook his head. Mama, I've decided. I'm not changing my mind. Upstairs, Amara stood frozen, her heart pounding. Once she gives birth and hands over the baby to me, the contract is over. Those words rang in her ears like a loud bell, and for the first time, reality fully dawned on her. She broke down crying. How was she supposed to cope after her child was taken away from her? She hadn't even given birth yet, but she already loved the child with her whole being. The thought of not seeing the baby anymore, or maybe never again, terrified her. She knew what she had to do. She had to leave. Amara began planning her escape in secret over the next few weeks. She knew Chuka was going to be out of town for 2 days for a business meeting, and that would be her window. She convinced Chuka to let her visit her father while he was away. I really miss my dad, she said. It'll only be for a day or 2. I just want to spend some time with him. Chuka agreed and informed the gatekeeper that Amara would be going to see her father. After he left for the meeting, Amara wrote a letter and left it on his bed. Dear Chuka, I'm sorry. I've miscarried the pregnancy again. I feel so ashamed and disappointed in myself. So I have left your house. I know leaving your house is a breach of the contract we had, but please try and understand. Please don't try to find me, because you won't find me. Thank you for everything, Amara. With her heart pounding, she packed a few clothes, informed the maids that she was going to see her father, and left. The gatekeeper, already briefed by Chuka, didn't question her. At her father's house, she stayed only for a short while. After a warm conversation and a few shared laughs, she told him she was heading back to Chuka's mansion. But instead, she booked an Uber to the bus terminal and bought a ticket to another state. She didn't even tell her friends she knew they'd try to talk her out of it. She had made up her mind. At the bus terminal, just as Amara was buying a ticket, Chuka's mother, who had a business meeting in the area, spotted her. She blinked, stunned. Is that Amara? She wondered, watching the heavily pregnant woman standing in line. Disappointment washed over her. What happened to Chuka's private jets? How could he let the mother of his unborn child travel like this? Immediately, called her son. Chuka, she said sharply over the phone. Why have you allowed the lady who is heavily pregnant for you to board a bus? Where exactly is she going that you couldn't let her fly in one of your private jets? Chuka's brows furrowed in confusion. Travelling? Mama, who's travelling? Are you sure you're not mistaking someone else for Amara? His mother scoffed. It is Amara I'm seeing here, buying a ticket at the terminal. Mama, please. I'll call you back. Chuka hung up and quickly dialed Amara's number, but it went straight to voicemail. Panic rising in his chest, he called Amara's father next. Papa, are you and Amara travelling somewhere? Amara's father responded. Ah, no. Oh. Why do you ask? Amara just left my house. She said she needed to get home before you came back from work. Chuka froze. No, sir. Amara was supposed to spend 2 days with you because I'm away on a business trip. That was the plan. What are you saying? The old man's voice cracked. Are you trying to say my daughter lied to me? No, oh, my Amara. She has never lied to me. Chuka ended the call and redialed his mother, but she didn't pick up this time either. His heart thudded in his chest. Without another thought, Chuka abandoned the rest of his trip and made the journey home immediately. The moment he stepped into his bedroom, his eyes caught the note lying on the bed. He picked it up and read it with trembling hands. Dear Chuka, I'm sorry. I've miscarried the pregnancy again. I feel so ashamed and disappointed in myself. Please don't try to find me. You won't. Thank you for everything, Amara. His knees almost gave out. His chest tightened painfully. He called his mother again. Still, no answer. Using his connections, Chuka pulled every string to get officials to search the buses that had recently left the station. The feedback he got broke him further. Amara wasn't on any of them. He stood in the middle of the room, broken, confused. My child, Amara, he whispered. How can she leave me like this? Tears welled up in his eyes. He clutched the note to his chest. It was at that moment that everything became clear. He didn't just care for Amara because she was carrying his child. He loved her. Without hesitation, he rushed to his mother's house, still holding the letter. When she opened the door, he didn't waste time. Mama, I've lost Amara and my child, he said, his voice breaking. I should have listened to you, Mama. I love her. I love Amara. And now she's gone. He handed her the letter, his hands shaking. Look at what she left for me. His mother took the letter, read it, and looked up with a small smile. Calm down, Chuka. I knew you were stubborn. You didn't listen to my advice. But it's good that you finally had a change of heart. It's too late, Mama. It's too late, Chuka whispered, his voice cracking. But then his mother turned her head and called out, Amara, please come. Chuka blinked. Mama is here with you? A soft voice came from the hallway. Yes, I'm here, and I've been listening to you all this while. Chuka's head snapped in her direction. His eyes widened. Without thinking, he rushed to her and pulled her into his arms, holding her tightly. Why did you leave me? He whispered. I thought I lost you. Did you really miscarry the baby? Before Amara could answer, Chuka's mum stepped in sharply. Enough with the questions. Let her speak. Amara gently pulled away and sat Chuka down. Chuka, I lied, she said softly. The baby is safe. His eyes widened in shock. I'm sorry I lied to you. I was scared, she continued. After I heard what you told your mom that once I gave birth, our contract would be over. I couldn't stop thinking about it. The thought of never seeing my child again haunted me. I know I signed up for this, but it became too hard to take in, so I planned to run away. Tears filled her eyes. You heard everything Mama and I said? Chuka asked, stunned. Yes, I did. Amara nodded. Amara? Chuka swallowed. The thought of losing you. It made me realize just how much I care about you. I love you, Amara. I don't want just the baby, I want you. I want to raise this child with you by my side. Please. He looked into her eyes, searching for a sign of hope. Amara, already crying, covered her mouth. Slowly, she nodded. I love you too, Chuka. They fell into each other's arms again, this time not as strangers in a contract, but as two hearts choosing each other freely, finally, and forever. The next day, at Chuka's mansion, Amara walked into the kitchen and saw Chuka trying to fry eggs. She burst out laughing. What are you doing? He held up a half-burnt egg with a frown. Trying to impress you? Well, congratulations, she said, teasing. You've officially murdered that egg. They both laughed. Later that week, Chuka took her shopping. You need more comfortable clothes, he said. I'm fine, she protested. Let me spoil you a little, please. Amara gave in, and for the first time, She tried on dresses she never imagined herself wearing. Chuka watched her every step with admiration. "You're glowing," he said. She blushed. "Pregnancy glow, maybe." "No," he said. "You. Just you." By the time they got home, Amara was feeling overwhelmed. She stood in front of her mirror, holding her belly, whispering, "What's happening to me?" Suddenly, her phone rang. It was her father. "Amara, how are you in the pregnancy?" he asked. "I'm good, Papa," she replied. "Chuka said you were nowhere to be found. What happened?" he asked, and Amara explained everything to him. "I just want you to be happy, Amara," her father said, concerned in his voice. "I think I am," she said quietly. After she dropped the call, she walked downstairs and saw Chuka talking to his mum on the phone. "Yes, Mum," he was saying. "She's doing fine." "Yes, I'm taking care of her." "No, I haven't told her yet." He paused when he noticed Amara standing there. "Told me what?" she asked. He froze. "Nothing, it's not important." "Chuka," Amara called him questionably. He sighed. "Mum wants us to make it official." "Official?" Amara asked. "As in, us getting married," Chuka said. Amara's eyes widened. "But we never even talked about that." "I know," he said. "She thinks it's the right thing to do since we're having a child. And you? What do you think?" He looked at her for a long time, then said, "I think I'm already yours." 3 months later, the soft cries of a newborn echoed through the hospital room as Amara gave birth to a healthy, bouncing baby boy. The moment the nurse placed the tiny bundle in her arms, tears streamed down her cheeks. Chuka stood by her side, eyes glistening with joy and disbelief. "He has your eyes," Amara whispered, her voice trembling. "And your stubborn chin," Chuka added, smiling as he gently kissed her forehead. "Our son, Amara, he's perfect." They named him Zion, a name that, to them, meant peace after a storm. Those early weeks were filled with sleepless nights, diaper changes, and stolen kisses between lullabies, but it only drew them closer. Their love deepened in the quiet moments of parenthood. Chuka dancing in the living room to soothe the baby, Amara humming lullabies at dawn, their whispered laughter in the kitchen when Zion finally fell asleep. 1 year later, under a flower-strewn arch in a sun-kissed garden, Amara and Chuka said, "I do." Amara's two best friends, squealing with excitement, circled her in a whirlwind of hugs and happy tears. "You married your baby daddy. The prophecy has been fulfilled," one teased. "And to think it all started with a contract," the other laughed. "Please, who writes your fate? Nollywood?" Amara rolled her eyes, blushing. "Love is unpredictable, ladies. You sign up for a deal and end up with a husband. And stretch marks." They all burst into laughter. Meanwhile, her father, in his best Agbada, stood nearby beaming with pride. He raised a glass and cleared his throat as he joined the newlyweds. "I never ever thought I'd become a grandfather this soon," he said, shaking his head with a chuckle. "1 minute Amara was my little girl asking for money to buy biscuits. The next minute, boom! She gives me a grandson." Amara grinned. "Daddy, please. Not the biscuit story again." Everyone laughed. Even little Zion, who was giggling in Chuka's arms, reaching out as if to be part of the joke. Chuka looked at Amara and smiled softly. "Thank you for giving me more than a son. You gave me love, family, and peace." "And you," Amara whispered back, touching his cheek, "gave me everything I never knew I needed." As the sun dipped low and music filled the air, they danced, laughed, and loved, surrounded by friends, family, and the life they built from the most unexpected beginning. The end. Moral lessons from Amara and Chuka's story. Lesson 1: love can start from the most unexpected places. Amara didn't plan to fall in love with a man who hired her to carry his child. And Chuka didn't expect to love again after being betrayed. But sometimes, the heart has its own plans. Lesson 2: True love grows quietly. Not with fireworks or perfect dates, but in the little things. A shared silence in the car, a worried glance, a hug after a breakdown. Lesson 3: Family is worth every sacrifice. Amara gave up everything, her body, her pride, her safety, just to save her father's life. And that kind of love? That kind of love changes everything. Lesson 4: Healing takes time and courage. Chuka locked himself away from the world, but it was Amara's strength, honesty, and presence that helped him unlock his heart again. Sometimes, the people who seem the strongest are the ones silently breaking inside. Lesson 5: Don't let past pain ruin your future. What happened to Chuka on his wedding day was brutal, but shutting the world out nearly cost him something beautiful. Lesson 6: Motherhood is not just biology. Amara signed a contract, yes, but her heart, it didn't follow rules. Because when life grows inside you, it becomes part of you. Lesson 7: Never judge someone's decision until you know their story. To many, she was just a surrogate. But behind that title was a daughter, a fighter, a woman doing whatever it took to save the man who raised her. Lesson 8: Words matter. Chuka once said, "Once she gives birth, the contract is over." But those words broke Amara. Be careful. Sometimes, the things we say without thinking leave scars we never see. And finally, Lesson 9: When love is real, it doesn't need a perfect story. It just needs two hearts willing to try. So tell me, which lesson hit you the hardest? Comment below and don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more inspiring love stories that touch the heart. Thanks for watching.